besides NAIA. This is part of the overhaul upgrading of the country's entire airport system under Secretary Togade, with the development of Clark as an industrial and logistics hub. We are also building a whole new city to give residents of Metro Manila an alternative home. And I believe the video is ready.
The Philippines, Asia's new tiger. For decades, our neighbors have zoomed ahead of us, building on industrial and infrastructure investments. Now, it's our turn. Last year, our economy grew 6.9%, faster than every major East Asian economy. This year and next, the IMF expects us to be the fastest growing economy in the region. After 2 decades of uninterrupted growth since the 1997 Asian crisis, we are realizing our immense potential at the center of the world's most dynamic region with our abundant natural and human resources. According to the United Nations, our young population is now in a demographic sweet spot since 2015. The same abundance of work-age citizens that propelled growth in China and other Asian dynamos. Now, under President Rodrigo Duterte, we are accelerating the formula of industrial and infrastructure development, driving the East Asian miracle. Already, manufacturing and investment have surged since 2010, fueled by our resolute fiscal reforms of the past decade. Now, under Dutertenomics, the President's development agenda, we have embarked on an ambitious 6-year national development program to achieve economic growth of 7 to 8% every year up to 2022, to expand infrastructure spending from 2.5% of GDP in decades past to 5% this year and 7.4% by 2022, and to attain high middle income status and eliminate poverty in 1 generation. The first order of business is to level up our infrastructure using our growing budget resources and overseas development assistance, and in partnership with you, the global investor. As an archipelago, the Philippines needs lots of infrastructure to power our growth and connect our island economies to major domestic and international markets. Over the coming 6 years, we will spend more than $160 billion in government and overseas development funds. That's not yet counting many billions more from the private sector in PPP projects and especially in power generation, which by law is totally in the hands of business. 2/3 of our infrastructure outlays will be for transportation. We will also spend heavily on education and social services to build up our human capital. These investments will boost growth and productivity in vast areas and sectors now lacking power, water, roads, ports, airports, telecoms, education, and social services. The World Economic Forum has predicted that the Philippines can become one of the 30 most powerful economies in the world in just 13 years. Be a part of this success story in Asia's dynamic new economic tiger, the Republic of the Philippines.
I'd also like to acknowledge our National Economic Development Authority Secretary, Erdi Perdia, sir. Secretary Lopez of Trade and Industry is looking forward to the rapid expansion of trade and industry as we build new infrastructure. The roll-on, roll-off shipping route that President Duterte inaugurated the other week with President Widodo of Indonesia will bring our goods and services closer to our neighbors in ASEAN, including Cambodia. Secretary Cusi of Energy will ensure that the construction and operation of our infrastructure projects can always rely on dependable and affordable power. Renewable and alternative energy is important to us, and that will now also include nuclear power. Ladies and gentlemen, last year we grew faster than China or Vietnam. This year and next, the IMF projects us to be the fastest growing economy within ASEAN. With Dutertenomics, With your support and participation, we will meet and perhaps even exceed the IMF's expectations. The Filipino people have waited long enough, and they deserve no less from us. Thank you, and mabuhay. Adrian.
Thank you very much, Martin. I hope that video is available in Chinese as well. So it's a pleasure to be here with such a plethora of ministerial talent to hear more about Dutertenomics and the very ambitious program that you just heard outlined. Can I get a sense in the room of who would like to pose a question? I think if you were interested in one of the most fastest growing economies in ASEAN, then you have every opportunity to explore that growth with all the folks we have in the room with us. I can see one hand up there. And I can see, is it another hand up just over there? And we're a very shy room of journalists at the moment, but we'll get going straight away because I think it's important to have a chance to get the minister's detail on this plan. So can I just ask the gentleman there, and then we'll take the question from the gentleman there.
Hi, my name is Sterling from Bloomberg News in Singapore. My question is about infrastructure. What is the plan for the new airport in Manila? Where would it be located? Any updates on that?
Okay, and the question just from there.
Thank you. Sri from CNBC. I just want to get a bit more colour from the gentleman at the panel as to what Dutertenomics can do in terms of the real growth rate. At what point in the cycle will it become materially higher? And does it mean more debt, more accumulation of the national debt? And what does that do for for the Philippines' credit profile?
Okay, great. Very big question, extremely specific question. Manila's new airport, where's it going to be? What kind of detail can you provide on that, Minister?
Can I answer that question, sir?
Absolutely.
Insofar as the airport development is concerned, the total airport development of the Philippines consists of varied phases. One is developing the existing. The other is opening the possibility for new airports. Let me go to the first phase, developing the existing. Right now, there are two airports that serve as primary gateway into and outside the country. This is the NAIA International Airport, located in Metro Manila, and the other one is the Clark International Airport, located in Clark. What are the plans? The plans is, number one, to develop the terminals at Clark International Airport, knowing fully well that at present it has two state-of-the-art runway. So you have got to develop that terminal. The target for development of this terminal in Clark is 2 years to 2.5 years. That airport will be complemented by a railway project which will be connecting Metro Manila with Clark. Hopefully, what normally takes 2 to 2.5 hours travel from Manila to Clark will be reduced to a max of 30 minutes. Number two is NAIA. NAIA will outlive, in my mind, its utilization because of the growth of the economy, because of the growth of population, and the improvements in technology. So that the direction for NAIA is to develop what is there right now. And the development will undertake various aspects. Development of the utilization of the place using time and motion studies, among others, imputing and including technology. Number two is an improvement on the structure that can expand its capability to handle more moving passengers. And number three is to include and use technology so that the safety capability of that airport is enhanced. This is primordial considering what is happening all over the world right now, when the threat of lawlessness and terrorism is there. So we have to do this. But as we develop what is existing, we are not shutting the door We are not shutting the door to having other airports coming in within the purview of the requirements of international airport regulatory offices like OKIA, all these things will have to be controlled. Right now, there are two proposals. Proposals in Bulacan. It is a province away from Metro Manila, where a proponent has offered to put up an airport with 4 runways, increasing capabilities. That is being looked into right now. It is coming in the nature of unsolicited proposal. The other is developing another airport in the south, referring to Sangli, originally an American base. The development of Sangli is holistic. It will not be developed only as an airport, but also as a possible seaport. Now, the priorities, considering the time constraints that are available to us, we have to handle first what can easily be done and what easily be handled, and that is improving the present. But as we improve the present, we look at the future and the possibilities and potentials of opening other airports to handle in expanded requirements of passengers within the purview of international standards is there, and that is being looked into.
So it's not so much build in the case of airports, more upgrade. Is that right, Secretary?
Yes, that is the logical sequence of build. If you build, you have to operate. If you build, you have to put it in motion. So that consequently and consequentially, build, operate.
And it's not often we have such a plethora of ministerial talent available to answer big picture questions. I just wondered which of your colleagues or of you gentlemen would like to answer on the real growth rate question. Is it going to be debt financed?
Well, I think
we have someone in the front row, and we can.
Okay, I think the concern is that with the build, then the debt problem will escalate. Actually, by international standards, our debt to GDP ratio now is only about 40% of GDP. And in fact, given our planning, our advanced planning, and we expect the debt to GDP ratio to even go down further to 35%. And that is because we have this comprehensive tax reform program, which is likely to be approved and implemented next year. And also the funding for the infrastructure program will be coming from soft loans, official development assistance, as well as local funding through private sector participation. So that is the kind of vision we have in terms of the debt issue. So it's not a concern to us now. And of course, we will be monitoring this very closely. And if there's any danger sign of exceeding, 50 debt to GDP ratio that is below 50% is very healthy. And we really just have to make sure that it doesn't exceed 50%. But we are not even looking at 50%. We're looking at 35% by the time, by 2025, or even earlier.
Adrian? On the airport, let me just add a quick footnote. The development of the airport will not just be limited on the major metropolis. Remember, the Philippines is an archipelago, and the connectivity and mobility of other people in other places, in other provinces, surely will have to be enhanced. So that as we develop the primary gateway in the primary metropolis, we'll also be improving and putting up new airports in the provinces. Already, we are undertaking a massive program to make all the airports night-weighted, meaning to say that they are able to operate at night so that you can do a more rationalized and efficient flow in the metropolis. Already, we will be doing improvement of infrastructure that will guarantee not only the safety and security of the traveling public, but more importantly, the security of the entire country, the entire archipelago. We are putting equipments and control to assure this. So that in terms of airport development, it is a holistic development that will not be centered or limited to the primary metropolis, but more importantly, to enhance mobility and connectivity with the other provinces and with the other regions.
Secretary, thank you very much. Can I get a sense of some more questions in the room? Lady in the front, and do we have anyone wanting to get a couple more questions about that?
Yeah. Sir, good afternoon, whatever. Sir, I just would like to know...
Can you just tell us who you are and where you're from?
Regalado of the Philippine Star.
Thanks.
Sir, you just mentioned about 168 billion the whole thing is worth, but I'm just curious how much of that total total amount would come from China?
Okay, good question.
Or are there parts of it that would come from China, of all the plans that you're presenting to us now?
Can we just squeeze in a couple more folks as well? So, lady there, and then follow up from the gentleman.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Ecobusiness in Singapore. My question is, Dutertenomics has been called the golden era of infrastructure for the country, but in the Philippines, I think you face really serious threats from climate change, as well as rapid urbanization and environmental degradation. So can you share whether sustainable development and sustainability plays a role in your infrastructure and economic growth plans? Thank you.
And the last point from the gentleman just opposite. I think you had one, so that gentleman just there.
Hi, Minister. Sorry, Sterling Wong from Bloomberg News again. Sorry to press, but
could your colleague have a shot just beside you?
On the airports again, between the two proposals for Bulacan and South, which are you favoring?
Okay, just gentleman there.
Yeah, hi, my name is Frederik Spohr from the German business paper Handelsblatt. I recently talked to some German business leaders in the Philippines, and they were kind of concerned what's happening with the war on drugs, because they kind of fear damage of the rule of law in general. And my question would relate to if you think that the war on drugs might actually lead to lesser foreign direct investments.
Okay, thanks for that. First off, if I can just turn to you for a word, Secretary Villar, on the sustainability. You're obviously in charge of public works. Are you making sure that this build program is going to happen in a way that's not going to result in some of the kind of negative carbon consequences that can go with unrestricted building programs?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. And of course, being in the Philippines, which is one of the countries that is the most prone to natural calamities, it is one of the priorities of the President to invest heavily in resiliency programs. Specifically, in this year's budget, we're investing about a third of our budget, 150 billion pesos, $3 billion, in programs that are related to enhancing our preparedness for natural disasters. This includes retrofitting of our bridges and making sure that the roads and the infrastructure projects that were hit by natural disasters are repaired immediately. I think this is very important because our GDP growth is significantly affected by natural disasters. Routinely hits us, so it's important from an economic perspective also that we invest heavily, and that is what we are doing. In fact, just really briefly to give you an idea of the scale of the spending of this department, this year we'll be spending 450 billion pesos, about $9 billion. This is the highest ever. In fact, just to put in perspective, if you were to combine our DPWH budget for 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, it still would be less than what we'll be spending this year in infrastructure. So to answer your question, basically, yes, that is a priority of the President. He has tasked us to do this. And the amount that we'll be investing in disaster mitigation is unprecedented. It's the highest it's ever been spent. And it will definitely, the benefits will redound throughout our country.